Hey y'all, Coach in the Fight here. I think I got the whole family with me, but we're just coming in on these last days of Hanukkah, Chanukah, Chawanukah, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this video is the true letters of this feast. We don't mean to interrupt anything you got going on or anything like that, but we do want to say Happy New Moon Day. That's the kids letting us know that they are on the way. But what we prayed about doing was to go down through the meaning of the word and touching on other stuff related to this day as we are wrapping up this festival. We want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to get in on some of the revelations that we're getting here as far as how we are to celebrate, what it all means, and what we have to look forward to. We ain't gonna get into the look forward to part too much, but we do want to talk about the pure language in this video. This feast, this year has been about the pure language, talking about the Hebrew language. And over the course of these last two festivals, we're finding out why it is so important to get back to the pure language. If we don't, we're going to be acting real Jewish, for lack of a better word. And I don't mean to be offensive. I'm just stressing that word ish on the word Jew. See, the word Jew comes from the word Judah. It's a short word for Judah. When somebody say you a Jew, they're saying you of the tribe of Judah. The significance of that is the other tribes all left Judah. They abandoned Judah when they abandoned David. And so that's why they say the Jews. It's mostly the Samaritans. The other 10 tribes are the Samaritans that point back and say Jews, them the Jews. The thing about it, it was the Jews who was supposed to keep the law there with David. The other 10 tribes went into Assyria and assimilated into the Assyrian culture. That's why they got lost, is because they married other people and you can't tell the difference unless you do a DNA test or something like that. And so they lost. And the thing about it, it is those same Samaritans who then point back and say, them are the Jews, when they point at people who are still keeping the laws like they are supposed to. The thing about it, some of those Samaritans who decided to keep some of the laws and keep it some of the time in some of the ways are now Jewish. And so that's where you get the difference between Jews and Jewish. The thing about it, the lesson in this class, like I said, is not to pick on anybody or any religions or peoples or anything. We're talking about language. And when you get into the lexical text of the Bible, you get Jewish. Just as simple as that. Just 1 and 1 plus 2. 1 and 1 equals 2. If you want to get to the Jew, the real, you have to return to the real language. We got our first class participant coming in. We live. We're want to say hi?
Hey, everybody.
We got Chris with us. Chris, if you don't mind there, we're going to be going down through looking at the Hebrew letters. You can come on in here. If you don't mind, bring that computer in here where everybody can get around the table. And so we're here on, what is this, the 7th day? I should let y'all identify yourselves. We got our next class participant. Come on in.
Before I go,
Come on in. We are having a class on the Hebrew language.
All right.
I'm just getting the table ready. We all live. You can say hi to YouTube if you want to. We got 4 people looking, half of them liking. We got Quad Miel says Shalom, coach and family. Praying all is well. Say hi to Quad Miel.
Hey YouTube.
All right, yes, all is well here. We just got some, like I said, we prayed on what this class will be about, and we're basically coming out of the Hebrew language, studying the Hebrew language. So we're bringing the kids in, bringing everybody in. Y'all want to come on in and we're just waiting for everybody to come. Let's go back to the comment section. We got Donovan Woods says, hey. Hey, Donovan. We got Brandy Monique says, shalom, family. Shalom, Brandy Monique. And we have Royal Princess of the Most High. Yeah, again, well, this is not an important class. If you got something else going on, please resume. You can watch this one after the fact. It's just as part of the celebration and part of what we're doing to try to revive ourselves, so to speak. We did want to have a class. We did want to do something in the name of the Lord. As we wait for people to chime in, one of the things I prayed about talking about, and I can go ahead and talk about it now as we wait for people to come in, is the dating situation of our youth. Yeah, half of them should be embarrassed right now. But it's a serious condition, it turns out. And that's what New Moon Day is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about community. If we were back there in Jerusalem in the day, we would all be together. We would be in a small little community huddled up. And so the dating situation, you can imagine, was way different when you actually got to see people. Because in today's society, they don't get to see people at all. I've been studying a little bit on this Generation Alpha and Generation Z and millennials, and there's a problem there. There's a problem with this generation, these younger generations, because they're tied up into the computers, and they're not communicating with each other. Like I said, they're not dating. They aren't even able to get out into the workforce for various reasons. They're having troubles in that area too. But it's all because they're tied up in these cell phones. Such. And so, if you got children in that situation, let's hear about what your children got going on. Some of you guys who have children, tell us about them. You ain't got to give us all the details. Do they have opportunities to meet other people, other kids? What do they do to meet other kids? Especially ones that are homeschooled, kids and stuff. But anyway, let's see. And so one of the things we want to do is remember this celebration as far as our kids are concerned. Because like we said, back in the day, they would have been playing. We would have been in here doing the Bible study. We'd all be around the table, but it would be too crowded. And so the kids would be outside playing together. Well, they're doing that now. Obviously, your kids are there, my kids are here, but notice how they can't communicate. So we're going to work on that. But anyway, I guess we got the whole class here. We got the whole class?
Yes.
All right, talking about cha na wa ka ha. How many syllables was that?
5.
5 syllables. Now, what we are doing here is understanding this pure language, these 5 syllables versus the 3 syllables. Ha na ka. Now we've been working on this for a little while, but this is a new moon class celebration to teach the Alabayata. Right? So if you guys want to follow along, you can go over to the channel. Go over to the post on the channel. And you guys are going to help me out in the comment section. You see how quiet we are. This is a room full of people here. And you see how quiet we are. So you guys are going to have to help out in the comment section. I'm going over to verify that we are live. And here.
Hope everybody's been having a good Chanukah. Huh? I said Chanukah, huh? As they've been going through the week and having a good day of remembrance.
All right, so we're going to read this. Returning to the pure language. Matter of fact, we'll let you read it, Chris. And then all we're going to do is a little something that I've been working on, and we're going to read it as like we're proofreading it. And then we're going to just add commentary and learning a little bit about the pure language. The point of this is on this first day of winter, this day of remembrance, one of the days that we're doing, one of the things that we're remembering is this pure language. And hopefully at the end of this video, you'll go over to coachinthefight.shop, or you'll go over to our post and you'll download the true Hebrew letters. What we've done is gone in and found a exact match for every Hebrew letter, all 22 letters in the Bible. For instance, Hawa is a letter in the Bible. And when we actually get that understanding, what we're going to see is it changes the meanings of what we learn in the Bible. In other words, we can stop being Jewish and start acting more like the tribe of, what is it? Judah? Is it Judah? I think it's more syllables than that. It's Judah or something like that. We have to look it up. But anyway, let's go ahead and read this this little article here.
Returning to the pure language, re-understanding the feast of Chanawakaha through letter meaning.
Yeah, so through the meanings of the letters themselves, not from what somebody else is telling us, not what we learned long time ago, not what we see on TV, but what the letters are saying themselves.
Introduction. Languages carry meaning in their letters as well as words. In the case of Hebrew, the original letter meanings conveyed processes, functions, and relationships, not abstract sounds or later symbolic overlays.
Yeah, so like abstract sounds, that's like in our alphabet. It's a A, it's a B, it's a C. But what does the letter G mean?
It doesn't have one.
Right? It's just an abstract sound. So it's just G. What does G mean? It's just an abstract sound. Go ahead.
Over time, particularly after the exile, these letter meanings were partially obscured. Letters were increasingly treated as phonetic symbols rather than functional markers.
Okay, so what happened in the exile? You got to understand what happened in the exile. The exile is that time after Nebuchadnezzar came in and knocked over the temple there in 2 Kings. The last few chapters of 2 Kings, you can read how Nebuchadnezzar came in and destroyed the temple. Well, that started the exilic period that lasted from 606 BC until about 417 when they actually got the temple rebuilt. It took all the many years from the time they burned it down until the time the thing was rebuilt. And so between there, you can imagine how the feast days were corrupted or disrupted, and people were scattered and whatever. And so during that time, one of the first things they did was they took them into Babylon and re-educated them. Well, what we're seeing in the scripture and what we're learning by going back to the pure language is they re-educated the Hebrew letters and changed the Hebrew letters. You can see it in the name Joshua, where when we look in the book of Joshua, his name is spelled one way. But then when you look after the post-exilic period for the name Joshua, you'll already see that they've taken away letters. Mm-hmm. And then when you continue to follow the name until our Messiah, you see that they've even taken away more letters.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. And that's what we're talking about. When you start taking away letters, you start reducing yourself down to the lexical meanings of the letters. And then when you get down to the lexical meanings of the letters, like we started off talking about, you're going to end up being Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to end up acting. You're going to end up doing things ish. Go ahead, Chris.
Words became labels for rituals or identity rather than descriptions of processes. Scribal and cultural conventions imposed a memorialized reading over the living function of words.
So, in other words, after Babylon, they started dumbing down the Hebrew language, changing it into or closer to our modern languages, where it's just words and we just spell it,
right?
Opposed to understanding the Hebrew. So you got to understand, when you're listening, when you're speaking Hebrew, when you're talking to a person that understands Hebrew, they can analyze your words as you speak to them. Like, for instance, if you show up and you say, "My name is Bobby," well, they can already break down what kind of personality, who you are, everything about you in your name. In 5 minutes, they already know just about everything they need to know about you, just by hearing you say, "My name is Bobby."
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
As a result, original meanings embedded in letters were shifted, lost, or reduced.
Shifted, lost, or reduced. In other words, they became Jewish.
Right.
The language itself became Jewish after Babylon. All them people that saying, the language ain't pure after Babylon, yeah, that is right. It's not pure after Babylon. The language is what they corrupted first in Babylon. The clock was already messed up before Babylon. You can tell that because of the 490 years that we had to be cursed in Babylon. Or the 70 years, Go ahead. 70 years. The 70-year curse was for the 490 years of disobedience, of rejecting the clock. But go ahead.
Creating a separation between word and process.
I got to hear when you get to the period, but go ahead.
The Feast of Chanukah provides a clear example of how returning to the pure letter meaning restores clarity.
Yeah, clarity as far as what it is we're supposed to be doing. Now, you notice at the beginning of this feast, there was some people down at the beach celebrating Hanukkah, and people were shooting at them on a feast day. Well, now that's why it's important to get back and get an understanding of, what's truly going on here. Else, we could be making such a mistake as in celebrating feast days out of season.
Right.
They being in the southern hemisphere was supposed to be celebrating
just coming out of Pentecost.
Well, and the beginning of summer.
Right.
Like we're celebrating winter. This is the first day of winter. To them, this is the first day of summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've taken the whole season out of whack. But go ahead.
The principle of the pure language. In the pure language model, Letters are functional units carrying intrinsic semantic weight.
Functional units, mathematical units, no doubt. Go ahead.
Words describe processes, not labels or abstract concepts.
Words describe the process. So when you hear the word, you hear the process, not an abstract meaning. And so we're going to get in that into a word like sukha, which is the Jewish word for booth, and basukatha, which is the biblical word for what we're supposed to be doing on the Feast of Tabernacles. Go ahead.
The order of letters constructs meaning sequentially.
The order of the letters are important. Now, the reason why we're breaking that up is because when you go from cha, na, wa, kaha to ha, nika, you're actually changing the order of the letters. Now, when we're talking about our feast day, you're actually changing the order of the feast day or the meaning of the feast day. Go ahead.
Altering, reversing, or omitting letters changes the functional process, not merely pronunciation.
Yeah, so ordering changes the functional process. So in other words, if you take the letter from one side and put it on the other side, you change the meaning. Like for instance, if you go from God to dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I mean, it's a lot of fancy words here, but that's all he's saying. That if you reverse the letters, you reverse the meaning, and we can understand that in the word God and dog, right?
Right.
Go ahead.
Returning to the pure language means recovering the original operational meaning of words rather than reading them through post-exilic conventions.
In other words, everybody needs a Jeff Benner Hebrew Old Testament. I'm not sure the name of it. I ain't affiliated with it. His name is Jeff Benner, Benner, because that at least gives you the first 5 books in the language that our Father wanted us to understand. Will, you want to go in there and get it so we can see it, the little blue book? The Hebrew letters up on the shelf? Go ahead.
Letter definitions as supplied. The meanings of letters used here, drawn from the internal letter system, are chawats, meaning separation, distinction, setting aside.
Okay, now that's one of the letters. He doesn't go through all of the, we don't talk about all of the letters here because we're only talking about the ones that are important. So you have the first chat. What does it mean? We don't want to read all of this, Chris. But what does it mean?
Separation, distinction, setting outside.
Separation, distinction, setting outside. Go ahead. Just read a huge chunk of it and just stop it somewhere. Go ahead.
Nawana. Continuance, seed, propagation.
That's the one they call none. Go ahead.
Wawa. Connection, joining, binding.
That's the one they call vav. It's not vav at all. There's no V's in the Hebrew alphabet or in the Bible. I did a class on it one time. There's not one word in the whole Bible with a V sound in it, period. No V, no victory, no value, no V's in the Bible at all. They're all Wa. And when you find, like I said, we went through and found a letter to represent each one of these Hebrew letters in the Bible. So you can go to the Strong's and find the letter Wa, which is what the Hebrew letter is supposed to be, Wa. And so you got the letter Wa, which means hook. Wa, which means hook. So of course, when you look at the word meaning, it's 2 hooks together, Wa.
Right.
So when you're trying to figure out what does a hook mean, you get in there and find 2 hooks together. Like, dang, they done hook 2 hooks together. Eventually, you're gonna get it. Mm-hmm. And that's how easy the Hebrew language is, how functional it is, how mathematical it is, because that's what it's doing in this word. Is it's connecting the cha and the na, which, in my own halfway ignorant understanding, that's a fence with a seed growing in there. There's something growing. You like a garden, where you done put a fence around it and you stuck some seeds in there that you're nurturing up. You're tying that to, what's the other two letters? Cha, na, wa,
Kapha and Hawa.
ka, which is the hand. So that's giving you something. And then what?
Hawa.
Revelation. So you're in the garden and you're being given revelation. And the Wawa is connecting those two things together, the garden and revelation. So is that the Garden of Eden to the time that we're in now, this 6,000 year, 6001, where we make the transition over? Is it necessary that you have to have the feast of Cha, Na, Wa, Kata? We're going to get it right. But is it necessary that you have to have this feast in order to be connected back to the garden setting? Is that what it's saying?
That's what it seems like.
Well, the word itself means inauguration, initiation, dedication. Go ahead, it's education.
Kapha, capacity, hand, ability to function.
Yeah, so that's the hand. The kapha is the hand. You know, what's in the hand? Go ahead.
And Hawa, being, manifestation, revealed existence.
Yeah. And so you see these when you look it up on the board here, you guys can see the Hebrew letters up there. I should have gave you those. But go ahead, Chris. Let me know if you get to another section. So basically, I want to check comments down here.
I just changed over to the next one.
All right, let's go to the comments, get caught up. Brandy Monique says, after leaving the school system, my daughter would have peer-to-peer interactions with our local library programs. She grown up and gone? Ah, too bad. Wanda Fajan said, hi. These guys, y'all don't even go to the library. We was just talking at the introduction part how the children aren't able to interact. And what we're hoping is that, you know, we can help with this. Our Generation X's, you know, as Generation X's, we can help with that. Come on, y'all. Generation X. We can help Generation Z with some dating issues. Come on, we had that lit. Go. Let's see who else. Blessings to you and all. May the Lord of God's Holy Spirit be in and with you all, for you are all God's children. God has his temple in the heart of every man, woman, and child. So love one another. Yeah, and I was just listening to one of the teachings earlier today where it talked about how his spirit is in every man, woman, and child too, equally. Unlike the old days where only the men kept the festivals and they were the only ones getting this light. Now, even the children are participating in these feast days. I saw some kids walking around with some wreaths on today, participating in this light, and they are going to get the same opportunity to get these same emanations as the adults. We read about that in the apocryphal books where it talks about how the kids are going to be just as wise as the adults. People are going to be talking to babies, toddlers, as if they're talking to kings and priests. But go ahead. And the other way around, the babies are going to be talking back. And I ain't talking about no artificial intelligence junk either, but go ahead.
Structural analysis of Chanawakaha.
Structural analysis.
Functional reading. Nawana meaning separation. A corrupted or disordered element is removed from its context.
Huh? What does that say? Read it again. I ain't understand. I might have zoned out.
A corrupted or disordered element is removed from its context.
Okay, I might have to see what you're saying there, cause in the functional reading. When is it? No, that's not Nawana. That's Chawata. Cha.
Oh.
Yeah. Chet. That's the one they call Chet. That's the first letter in the word. It's Chet. It looks like an N. And that's why you thought it, but it's not. In the in the original Hebrew, it looks like a fence.
Yeah, I'm
right?
better at reading the Paleo Hebrew.
And that's part of the Jewish part is your cha and your ha look like the same letter. Even the tha and all of them look the same. Cha, ha, and tha. I mean, let me. I can't show the guys the difference. But give me a piece of chalk. I'll show you guys real quick. Piece of paper or something. Marker or something. Here, this is some people in here. All right, here it is. This is. Come in, look. I wish you guys could see it on the TV, but anyway. So that right there is a cha. Cha, see cha? That right there is a ha. See how it works? That's Yiddish. See how easy that was? That's a cha. That's a tha. That's why you can't speak that language. That's why they can code it and then switch the words and then say what they want to say. Instead of saying Chanukah, they can call it Hanukkah and you believe it and you keep it pushing. You don't even look back. If you don't get back to that pure language, you're going to stay stuck like that. Let's go ahead.
Let's try this again. Chawatz, separation. A corrupted or disordered element is removed from its context.
Yeah, so a disrupted element is removed from its context. And he explaining this now, yeah? We're getting some of this from artificial intelligence, and that's why we're using this supercomputer, because it's already, analyzed the result. It's coming back and explaining it. So you have a disrupted element. What's the disrupted element? The golden calf.
Yeah.
The golden calf that disrupted the element, dropped bombshells in whole houses and relationships and everything. And now we need a way back. Now we need something. And so now you're about to put a hedge between that mess. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Nawana, continuance.
Continuance. So you ain't starting over. Remember we're starting from the disrupting tabernacles. So it ain't nothing really new. It's a continuance of tabernacles. It started with the golden calf. So we went in the bayatah or the basket. We went in the basket before the golden calf appeared. And then when the golden calf appeared, the whole... Oh, yeah. I don't know where we lost it at. Anyway. Go ahead. How long was it up there? Did you notice?
No, I didn't.
All right, go ahead. Sorry about that, y'all. We're gonna let Clifford manage the connection from now on. We down to 4 people liking. Yeah, we must have been gone a while. Anyway. Sorry about that. Oop, lost you. How long was I gone? What's the last thing y'all heard? You back, golden calf. Oh, yeah, so that's what created the problem. The Chawatha in the word is a separation, but it's separating us from the problem. We'll read that part again, Chris.
Chawatha, separation. A corrupted or disordered element is removed from its context.
A corrupted or disordered element is removed from its context. So now we're getting in here, elevating our spirit at dawn, right here at the turn of the year, to separate ourselves from this disordered element, which is the golden calf in the world, and it may not have been us who worshiping the golden calf, but we are being corrupted with it anyway. That's why the whole world goes crazy and goes into war after all of this is over with. This Christmas holiday, they'll start fighting again in January. Go ahead.
Nawana, continuance. The separated element is intended to endure and propagate.
And separated is intended to endure and propagate. Go ahead.
Wawa, reconnection. Proper alignment and linkage is restored.
Proper alignment and linkage. Like I said, the letters tell us what's going on here. So we have the cha, which is separating. You have the enduring part, or the seed, the nurturing part is growing part. And then you have the hook part. And what is it hooking us to?
Kapha, capacity. The restored element regains function and the ability to operate within the system.
So we gain capacity to do what? What is this capacity? So capacity is a cup. See how much capacity I got in that cup?
Yeah.
Right? So now so he just increased my capacity. Now what is he going to put in the cup?
Hawa'a, manifest being. The process culminates in visible, active existence.
Spiritual, elevation, enlightenment, revelation. Hawa'a. Hawa'a. And like I said, it's almost mathematical at this point. Go ahead.
Composite meaning. The feast of Chanawakaha represents a complete restoration cycle. Separation, preservation, reconnection, functional renewal, and active manifestation.
Now, take them slow.
Separation.
Separation. Now, a whole lot of people you can imagine ain't about to turn down the golden calf.
Right.
You know, especially since they wrapped up in a whole lot of bills. I ain't mean to pick on nobody, but that's part of it. Now they got to pay for all of it, which is part of what the golden calf is about. It's economics. It's how we're running this country. It's how it's running the world, for that matter. Go ahead.
Preservation.
So, preservation. You know, we're preserving what we had. Remember, it started when they destroyed our temple. Put a pig on the altar, and then they burned it down.
Reconnection.
Reconnection. So now, not only are we reconnecting to our Father in heaven, hallowed be his name, Yahweh, but we're reconnecting to his fruit, his son, his word, our people, family, everything is being reconnected. It's a reconnecting thing. That's what the festival is about, reconnecting to everything. That's why I said and used the word revival earlier. You know, if the church was really into doing things according to the Bible, this would be revival week. This is the week of revival. Every church would be doing revival for this whole week, with the exception of the 2 holy days. But go ahead.
Functional renewal.
Functional renewal. Functional renewal. Functional renewal. Not thinking about it, guessing about it, talking about it, but actually being about it. Like we did in the class earlier, we discovered in the book of Jubilees, chapter 16, that Abraham put a wreath on his head. And I had to think on that for a moment, because who else had a wreath on their head? Y'all remember?
The Messiah.
The Messiah had a wreath on his head. Who else? You know? And the thing about it, the significance of that is priestlyhood, kingship. But the thing about it, a king, he has a wreath on his head, but it's made out of metal.
Right.
And so we don't have a king wreath on our head. We have a wreath of our head made out of vegetation. Right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what it's talking about there. What did it say again?
Functional renewal.
Functional renewal. And so you have the wreath on your head at dawn. Right when the morning star, which we have that opportunity every morning, but to do so, but I don't know. I ain't never walked around with a wreath on my head during the morning star, during the pre-dawn hour. But functional renewal, we're actually learning functional. You know what function means? You can do something. Function, you can actually, that's a thing. Right. X equals, Y. Y equals X is a function. Y'all have to study algebra to understand the significance of a function, but that's a really big deal. You ain't got, what other functional holidays do you have? Do you have some? Functional renewal. Passover is a functional renewal.
Right.
Because, why? Explain it.
Because you're taking of the communion to make a new renewal of your soul. Absolutely.
And so this is along the same lines as that. So go ahead.
An active manifestation.
Active manifestation. Active manifestation. What is the active manifestation? Anybody want to render a guess? This is one of them things where I already know what answer I want, and every answer you're going to mention is going to be halfway right, but I'm going to say it's wrong. But go ahead. Try.
Your love mission?
Nope. I was locked and loaded on that. Your love? No. Joy. The joy. I mean, you can't get your love mission out of it. You pray. You better be praying for your love mission. That's one of the things you want to get out of it. But that don't come every year. What does come every year is joy.
Right.
It's a time of joy. It's a time of generating joy. And by going through the acts, it actually gets joy. Go ahead. What'd you say, Chris? What you whispering about? Say it out loud.
I was telling Clifford to say something.
Oh. Hey, he ain't the only one in the room. Go ahead.
Coming up to the next section now. So.
We got the next section. All right, let's go to the comments. Anybody want to read comments? We ain't got that many. That was Stephanie. Oh, that was Stefan Gray. They had that last comment, and we heard from Wanda Faison, Brandy Monique, Royal Prince of the Most High Yah, and Quad Miel, Donovan Woods, just to know everybody's representing. We have Kay Dans says that we had lost you and appreciate that. We're back talking about the golden calf. We're all right now, so let's go on. We all caught up in the comments. Anybody else got any comments before we go to the next section? All right, let's go for the next section.
Impact of post-exilic modifications.
Impact of post-exilic modifications. In other words, what's wrong with becoming Jewish? What's wrong with just, going along with these lexical words and just dumbing it down, to the thing? Like I said, on one hand, you have a ba, su, ka, tha, 4 syllables. Ba, su, ka, tha, which is kind of like a basket. When you think about a basket. But then the other one, you have a sukata or a sukaha, and which is a booth. And so you have the two difference. One is a word sukaha, which means booth, and somebody had to tell you that for you to figure it out, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't it? Right. The other word is in English would be BASKTH, basket. Basukata. But go ahead.
After the exile, letter meanings were diminished as letters became primarily phonetic markers.
In other words, they took the language from us. They dumbed us down in Babylon. That's all he really had to do to us, is take us into Babylon, dumb the letters down for us to where we didn't understand the messages that our Father was giving us, and then spin us off in the world with a few pagan holidays, and we doomed until now. When we can return to the Pew language and try to get some of that back. But that's where it starts. It's going back to the alphabet. One of my buddies was laughing at me the other day. He said, "We going back to the alphabet now?" Yeah, all the way back to the Alabayata. Go ahead.
Words like Chanawakaha are read as labels rather than processes.
Labels rather than processes. So in other words, somebody say, "You gonna take off work for Hanukkah?" Yeah, it's just a label. What you gonna be doing? I don't know. It's just a label. But you can't say that you're participating in Chana Wa. Help me, Chris. Chana Wa Kaha. Until you actually get an understanding of the word. And I ain't gonna be able to pronounce it right until I actually understand what I'm saying. Other than that, I'm just saying something.
It's just a word.
It's just a word. But the more I try to get that word right, the more I'm going to understand that he's handing me something. Got to remember that car part in there. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
The sequential functional logic encoded in the letters was replaced by ritualized or commemorative interpretations.
All right, slow that down.
The sequential,
the order of the word.
Functional logic.
Functional is two things. Functional, we already talked about, that's mathematical, and logical. That's your brain working. Go ahead.
Encoded,
and we're breaking down some Bible code. People trying to find what the Bible code is. You want to know what the Bible code is? Go back to the original Hebrew. Go back and get you a Jeff Benner. Start there. That's all the Bible code you need, because you're seeing the truth. And then start taking the same thing on through the rest of the Bible. Start with Joshua and look at the contextual. And then once you start, it's like the old days when we had to put the King James beside the New International Version. Now we're going to put the lexical beside the contextual and understand the pure language of what we're supposed to know. But go ahead.
In the letters was replaced by ritualized or commemorative interpretations.
Ritualized or commemorable, well, what?
Commemorative.
Commemorative. And then that's important, commemorative, because now you're just saying something really. We celebrating tabernacles. Now you absolutely looking back in the past and what they was doing. Oh, they was building stuff out of branches. They didn't have nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
What else did they have? What were they go? They couldn't go to Home Depot and get no lumber and build something.
Right.
That's all they had. What was they gonna go do? What was they gonna build stuff out of? They didn't have no other choice. They was in the wilderness.
Branches and rocks.
Branches and rocks and dirt. That was it. And so now you commemorating that. So now you in New York City trying to find some branches, rocks, and dirt so you can celebrate with the Lord. That's what in the language. That's what it means. You're gonna get Jewish if you don't get back to the language. Go ahead.
The intrinsic connection between letter sequence and process was largely lost.
Was lost. After Babylon, it was lost. I said we had already lost the calendar before we got to Babylon, and so we don't know what time it is, and so we get to Babylon, and now we done lost the language. And then you say, what happened? What did we lose after that? After when they rebuilt the temple in 417, they reconstructed the way the temple processes was working. So by the time the Messiah got on the scene, we had completely lost the temple structure at all. In other words, the Romans were picking the priests. The Roman government was choosing the priests and running the tabernacle from that way. So they steadily just taking stuff from us. We're going to get it all back too. Probably in that order. Go ahead.
In this context, alternate spellings like Hanukkah, which omit key letters, illustrate the shift.
It omit key letters. I mean, they omit it. You know what omit means?
I don't know.
Omit means your name is one thing. How about I just take it out and say you ain't got that part of your name no more. Your name is Will. You ain't got no other letters or associated with your name. Oh, who is that? No, that's Cliff. So your name Cliff now. When you're going to introduce your name, they're going to say Cliff. And when you try to say fuck, we're going to and we ain't going to let it get out. That's an omission. Like somebody just take it away. Like if you wrote your name on a piece of paper and somebody come in and actually erase the last 3 letters of your name off, that's an omission. And see what happens is the person that comes behind you, they don't even know it was there. That's the thing about an omission is people don't even know it existed at all. It's not there at all. It ain't like it's gone. It ain't it's hidden. You know, people like, oh, I remember. It's blank. You don't even know that it was missing in the first place. You don't even know what you lost. In other words, it's omitted. It ain't just gone as far as you're concerned. It never existed.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Hanukkah lacks separation and reconnection and ends without manifest completion.
So it lacks separation. If you celebrate Hanukkah, you ain't got no separation. You ain't separating nothing. You might be down there with everybody else doing everything else everybody else is doing. Like I said, it's just a day off from work. You ain't got no separation. It's supposed to be, see, we with the worldly people every day. 6 days a week, we got to go down here with these worldly people. You know? Mm-hmm. I think about 300 days out of the year is devoted to being worldly with these worldly people. I mean, Maybe a little less than that. Probably 100 days. You start getting taken away weekends and all of that kind of stuff that you ain't got to deal with it. But for the most part, for the most of the year, we worldly, wearing the same clothes, doing the same stuff, dodging a few things. But for the most part, we doing exactly what they doing. Ain't no difference at all. We don't dress different. We don't talk different. We don't smell different. We don't look different. Ain't nothing different. Nothing. I can go to the airport right now and walk through the airport just like everybody else, and a now red flag gonna come up and say he a Hebrew Israelite or anything else. He one of them people. Ain't nothing gonna flash. Nothing.
Right.
I can jump up and down and say, "Look at me," and ain't nothing. They ain't nothing gonna thing to be different. But on Chanukah, now we got to be different. Now we got to come over here. We separate. That's what it means to be holy. We different and separated, isolating ourselves from the world. The golden calf, no doubt. Go ahead.
It describes persistence without restoration, a diluted form of the original process.
Say that one more time.
Persistence without restoration.
Persistence as in keep doing it. That's what the word Hanukkah means. You keep doing it, but ain't no restoration in it. You ain't getting nothing out of it. Because there's no separation. You might be down at the beach. You might be down at the church. You might be down watching what is today? Tuesday? Taco Tuesday? You may be down at Taco Bell, huh? I don't know. Go ahead.
How understanding changes when returning to the pure language. How understanding changes when returning to the pure language.
How understanding changes. In other words, we started off this festival doing Hanukkah. We ended up doing Chana Wakaha. I mean, we started off with 3 letters. We quickly went to 4 letters. Now we find out that it's 5 letters.
Right.
And so our whole feast week should change mid-feast week. To the extent that we're learning this. But go ahead.
When the letter meanings are restored, Chana Wakaha is not merely a ritual or celebration.
It's not merely a ritual. It's not merely a celebration. It's not merely a ritual. Okay, if it ain't merely a ritual or merely a celebration, what is it?
It is a model of restoration.
Model of restoration. In other words, this is how you do it. This is how you get restored.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't just a celebration. This is a pathway to restoration. Go ahead.
A functional sequence that describes how renewal occurs.
Functional sequence. Come on now. We ain't all got to go to engineering school. Functional sequence. To do what?
Describes how renewal occurs.
Describes how renewal occurs. Oh, we ain't got to go to engineering school. We just got to do what we're told. Joyful branches, yada, yada. Go ahead. Reefs on the head, no doubt. Go ahead.
The focus shifts from symbolic commemoration to the actual process of restoring function.
Yeah, so we ain't just celebrating an old-timey holiday that people want to claim is antiquated and we ain't got nothing to do with. Imagine how those people sound when what is it that we're doing it for?
Shifting from symbolic commemoration to the actual process of restoring function.
The actual process of restoring function. So it's like when you say that it's antiquated, you're saying you don't need the process of restoring function. You don't even want to get restored?
That's what they're saying.
That's what you're saying. If you're saying it's antiquated and you ain't got to do it, you ain't interested in restoration at all. You just, what? I don't know. Go ahead.
The feast becomes an operational template.
An operational template. Now we're getting military. Really in my avenue now. Go ahead.
Visible in language itself, independent of culture or tradition.
Visible of what? What?
Visible in language itself.
Visible in language. That's Hebrew for you. visible and you can see the letters. You can see in there. Look at this Jeff Benner right here, boy. I'm gonna let y'all see it too. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry. Let's draw lots. Let's see. Go ahead, switch it in YouTube, please. I'm sorry, I'm just learning how to do this thing.
That's it.
That's it? All right, so that's the Jeff Benner. That's the cover of the Jeff Benner book. So now can you see in the letters? Can you see meaning in the letters?
Yeah.
Trying to find the tetragrammaton, Chris. Where is it? What line is on?
Is that it?
No, that ain't it. No, I looked at that first. That's za, ya, ha, ya. Nope, that ain't it. It's on there somewhere, I believe. But anyway, you can actually see in there. You can see people praying. You can see that symbol right there too. Look at that one. Remember we was working on that one for the Kodesha?
Yeah.
Anyway, you see eyes in there, which mean insight. You see heads in there, which mean heads. You see hands in there. You don't see snakes in there. You see a seed in there. And when you see that seed, it means what? That's Yunah, right?
Right.
But anyway, go ahead. That's by Jeff A. Benner. Everybody need that book. Just to get started. You want to learn Hebrew? That's the starting spot. And then coachinthefight.shop. Stop over there and get you some printouts of the real letters, what the letters mean. But go ahead.
Conclusion. Returning to the pure language of Hebrew allows us to see words as processes, not labels.
And this go for everything, y'all. We need to go back and look at everything. We need to go back and look at tabernacles. We need to go back and look at Passover. Every Sabbath day, what is it exactly we supposed to be doing? Based on the Hebrew language. Everything has to be reanalyzed, wondering if we being Jewish about the matter or not. Especially if they doing it. Mm-hmm. We ought to assume that, no, we got to go look a little bit deeper. Red heifer? Oh, no. We got to go dig deeper into that to find out what this is all about. We got to put that all back into this mathematical process. See, you guys frown on the fact that I use ChatGPT, but the thing is, y'all, I've been trained on that. I started off in computer science, quickly went to computer engineering until I found out that wasn't tough enough and that the electrical engineers is where it was really at. And I jumped over there quick, and then I got my degree and then went to Masters of Science school and engineering school too. I could do everything but rebuild that computer. And I know what the Bible says. So all I'm doing is proving to you guys this stuff mathematically, allowing this thing over here, this sand over here, this rock over here, this computer over here, to actually regurgitate the word and what it says. And the thing about it, when you put in the actual letter meanings, like I said, you can go over to the post and get a copy of it. Now it becomes mathematical. And you put in the contextual, what the word was actually there. Now it becomes mathematical. And now we can reanalyze every verse to see what it was our Father was trying to tell us from the beginning. And we need to do that in everything. Go ahead, Chris.
For Chanawakaha, the letters themselves describe separation, continuity, reconnection, functional capacity, and manifest existence.
That's it? All right.
Post-exilic shifts may have obscured this meaning, but the pure language restores it. Chanawakaha is thus revealed not as a story or ritual, but as the living process encoded in the letters themselves, demonstrating the power of the original language to communicate action and purpose directly.
The power of the original language. Is that it? All right, so hopefully out of this festival, guys, it started back there in Tabernacles, the return of the pure language. We said we was gonna get us some shirts made for this season. Starting back there in Tabernacles, marking this 2025 season as the return of the pure language. And I believe now we see the why. It's a really big deal, y'all. Hopefully y'all got something out of this video. Hopefully you understand why. And hopefully you're ready and got your wreath together for tomorrow morning, y'all. Hopefully you got your wreath together. That's another reason why we're doing this class. We put that other class up so late. You need to check it out. That wreath is ordained, it's necessary. The wreath is necessary. You got people putting wreaths on their door right now. The wreaths are supposed to go on their head at dawn. Head at dawn. Whether you got an altar or not, you're supposed to have that wreath on your head at dawn. Now, whether it's a spiritual wreath, I know I'm gonna have a 3-dimensional wreath until I look at the Hebrew word for wreath. But that'll be after tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to have a 3-dimensional wreath on my head as I'm walking around my altar 7 3-dimensional times. And that's going to be in the pre-dawn light. Tomorrow, the last day, the 8th day of Chanukah. Last opportunity to get in on this as far as we're concerned. Probably keep on going and do it every day if you wanted to. But, you know, we were told 8 days. And until we get better understanding, 8 days mean 8 days. And tomorrow is the 8th day. So if you would, join me tomorrow morning in the pre-dawn hours as we pray, meditate, sing praises to our Father in heaven, elevate, and get ready for the rest of the year. Anybody got anything else before we go?
I wish you a blessed Chanukah for the last day.
Shalom, everybody. As a continual rest of your day, hopefully it is joyful.
And remember that Saturdays on Mondays now.
Shalom.
Shalom. Godspeed.